Y'all see how I have to be out here on the streets? That's literally my parents' mailbox. Trying to find a place to record can be, when you're not at your own home, can be difficult. There's not really a lot of good spots inside for good lighting, but nonetheless, we have made it, and I am determined to bring out some good content for you guys.
Stores are like Chelsea change. Down the light, spread the dimes. Time to spread this, your dreams dance at all. Godly thrones that be dancing, so lots got to ransom, don't come at all.
So, hello everybody. This is Lexi here with the Traditional Locs, and I'm here for another video outside in the great outdoors. Welcome back. We are super excited that you have hopped on to YouTube today and have chosen us. I'm hoping that I don't get run over by a car because I'm literally in the street, but that's okay. That's totally fine. Before I get started, I just want to remind you all to go ahead and subscribe to this channel so you can keep up with all of our content. Go ahead and like, comment on this video. Let me know what your thoughts are. And then also remember to follow us on Instagram, Pinterest, and on TikTok, because we're on all three. We're much more active on Instagram, somewhat active on TikTok. Pinterest kind of slacking lately, but for sure Instagram, if you want to keep up with a lot of what we have going on and like more updates, Instagram is the best way to go. So yeah, today I'm going to be talking about what it was like or is like having locks in the Pacific Northwest. I wanted to say in like an all-white environment, but I feel like all white in certain parts of the country, like the perceptions vary. So I can't guarantee that you're gonna be safe in all parts of this country. Okay, let's just be honest. But I want to do a video on that because it was quite an interesting experience. I want to address like the concerns that people have. I don't know if you all had the same things. Again, comment below and let me know what you think. But one of the concerns that I had, and that like when I was thinking of getting locks, people around me, like my parents, other family members would like comment on is, you know, am I gonna be able to get a job with the hair? What are people gonna say? My grandmother said I'm not gonna get married. Like, people always wanna know the perceptions that other people have on your locks. Everybody's focused on the perceptions on like what white people might think about our hair, right? So I'm gonna tell you what it was like being in a place in a city where I rarely saw people who looked like me, and literally working in a hospital where on my floor there was one lady who worked at the front desk who was black, but other than that there was like nobody around who was black, and I had locks. I was black and I had locks. So I want to let you all know what that was like. Okay, had to pause for a second, but I'm gonna be back on now. So I'm gonna be honest, I have had no issues having locks at all. Professionally, not while I was in school. I got my locks started the summer before I started grad school. And I went into a program. Then again, I was going to school in Atlanta at the time, so even though I did have a lot of white professors, most of my classmates were white, I think being in a space, in a city where in general there's more of us there and people are just used to seeing locks and seeing black people, I think that definitely is a different experience. So I didn't have any problems in grad school, even as my locks were maturing and going through all the frizziness and all the craziness. Yeah, never had any issues. Nobody said anything. Well, I will say, when I was working at one of the VA hospitals, I was working with a lady who she would ask me things about like how often I wash my hair, stuff like that. You could tell she was the only person who I encountered that time who, outside of even the hair thing, would say some things and be like, I'm not racist. It's kind of giving it though. But other than her, everybody was super chill. Nobody ever said anything about my hair. But I will say, moving to some place like the Pacific Northwest, so the Pacific Northwest being like Washington State, Oregon State area, that was going to be a different situation, right? Because yeah, people tend to be more liberal, so I'd heard, but they don't have anybody, not anybody, they don't have a lot of people really who look like me out there. Like Portland is, I think last I checked, it's like 4%, 5% black. So, but I had a great experience. I had a great experience. Like I said, I was the only one who looked like me working on my floor in that clinic. And what, I guess, let me just put it this way. People's political views definitely do kind of associate with how, like, I'm not saying they're perfect, but I feel like not growing up, but like when we moved to the South when I was in high school, like I had a lot of people weren't necessarily super rude about my hair, but there were a lot of questions and a lot of, oh, how do you do this? Just like a lot of like things that people said, obviously a lot of things they didn't understand. There was a lot of like feeling othered. Like people would make sure to point out my hair, this was like, your hair does not look like ours. Like there was a lot of focus on that. Even if it's just out of curiosity, it just, you know, sometimes you don't want to always be answering questions in front of big groups of people about your hair and how it happens or whatever. But in Pacific Northwest area, at least with my experience in Portland, people like never drew attention to my hair like at all. Like, I mean, yeah, we all know my hair is different or whatever, but you don't have people asking to touch it at all. You don't have people asking, what is it? How did you do it? How do you, like, nobody asked me any questions about it at all, like ever. Unless I initiated it and brought it up or said something about Locs, then I felt like they probably felt that I've opened it up so that they can ask me questions. Sometimes, so I was working with kids, and a lot of the kids in that area, you can tell that they probably have never interacted with somebody who looks like me or seen anybody who looks like me. So sometimes they would just like look and then start like looking at my hair and then look back at me. And sometimes they'll like reach out and try and touch it, or they kind of look like at me like they're looking for permission. And I'm gonna be honest, y'all, I really don't, especially kids, I really don't have any problem with it. I know some people are gonna disagree with me, but I had no issue with letting them touch my hair. Sometimes they'd be like, oh yeah, this is my hair, and they would just kind of like hold it and touch it, and then that was just it. You know, then they can go back to focusing on whatever they wanted. One more second, please. All right, and we're back again. Frankly, you know what was really suspicious? Not suspicious, but was definitely different, was like in the few instances where people would bring it up, I was surprised that they knew what my hair was, okay? For example, I went up to Seattle for the day to visit and kind of go around, and we were at, I think it's called Pike Place Market. It's a like market out there, and they have all these vendors, they're selling things, and there was a white guy who was there selling like head scarves and head wrap, not like head wraps, kind of like Black culture head wraps, but it was like obviously like something I would use to wrap my hair with, but they might use for something else, right? And as I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, these are cute. And he goes, oh yeah, they're perfect for like wrapping up, like he's like, look, they're silk, they're perfect for like wrapping locks. And I was like, first of all, how do you know I got locks? Second of all, how do you know that I would need silk for my hair? Again, I'm not in a hair show, a hair event where people might have been educated on that. I'm not with, there ain't no black people around. No black people around. He's not even a girl, he's a guy. Not to be sexist, but he's like a guy. Like guys don't even know anything about hair. And for him to identify locks and identify that I would be looking for something silk, I was like, oh shoot. There's another instance, I started getting into swing dancing while I was in Portland, and I was dancing with this one, again, a white guy, dancing with him, basically like was like, oh hey, like you should tie up your locks, because like sometimes when you're spinning, like you can like slap your partner in the face or whatever like that. Some people might have a problem with him saying that to me. I really didn't care because I didn't realize that that's what was going on, which actually I was dancing with somebody else and he did get hit really hard in the eye and I felt kind of bad, but whatever. I usually keep my hair down when I'm dancing. But again, I was like, how do you know that I have locks? Like, how do you know? I don't understand. Again, I had a friend, third time, I had a friend, again, a guy who is not a person of color, not black, nothing. He's straight up white. A guy from Washington State. As far as I know, doesn't have much I don't know how many black people he's ever met in his life. Anyway, he goes, oh yeah, how long have you had your dreads? What do you mean? How do you know what this is? I don't understand it. So like those few experiences are just kind of like, whoa, like in a place like area like that, Seattle, Portland, whatever, like even though the diversity isn't there, the people there kind of like, I just feel like they just have, even though they don't have the people living around them, they still have like a better general awareness than the white people like in the South who are living amongst black people. Like it's crazy. But nobody really gave me any issues. I worked. I mean, I had days when my hair was really bumming out, frizzing out. Nobody ever said anything to me. I just think in that part of the country, they are just really they really want diversity. It's not just that they're open to it, they really want diversity. Like they want to be around people of color. Like they want to bring more of that in there. And so they will like accept you as whatever you want. Like, you know, I never wore like a head wrap, but I had a black friend who was psychology major who was there, and she was like, I've come in here with a headscarf and head wrap and had no issues. You know what I mean? Like they don't, but in general, they're just more open to a lot of things, like different hair colors, stuff like that. Like in the South, like, I mean, to have like bright pink hair, you're not considered professional in most spaces, but out there, like you can be doing whatever job and you can walk in there with whatever hair color you want. And sometimes kids have different hair colors. So it just was such a different experience in that they just really let people be who they want to be and be who they are. And they understand, again, this is just my experience, because I know some people might come in the comments and say that they've experienced racism out there. Hey, if you did, I'm not knocking your experience. Like, I'm sorry that happened to you. But so far, my experience in Portland and in the Pacific Northwest has been that just kind of like, hey, as long as you can prove to us that you can do your job, we're good. So that's been my experience. And trust me, if anything, if that changes at all, I will be doing a video talking about that. But so far, it's been great. So my charge to y'all is, hey, if you want locks, or you want to go natural, or you want to wear your natural hair out, or what, do it, and do not be ashamed. Okay. You know, you might not get the reactions that you're scared that you may get. Like, people may be much more comfortable with it than you realize. And in my experience, the worst comments that I've gotten have been from black people, whether it's been family or people who don't even really know me. I'm just being honest. The people who have said some outright, like straight up rude things have always been black people. So, you never know. Well, considering that this noise is happening again, I think it's time that I say goodbye. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I would love to hear more of your perceptions. If any of you all are in all white spaces, all white jobs, all white schools, you know, let me know what your experience has been having locks. Have you had people ask you a lot of questions? Have you had people straight up been rude? Have you had like ignorant comments, or have you just been like perfectly fine? Like, what has been your experience? And if you're from like the Pacific Northwest area, has your experience been very similar to mine? I don't know. I can only speak to my experience, and I don't know a lot of black people. I only know like 2 other black people out there who have locks. I don't know enough to know how everybody else is being treated. So I would love to hear what you guys say. Make sure you like and comment on this video, subscribe to our channel, go and follow all of our other platforms, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest. And we will see you next time. Bye.